In this world, designed with continuous interruptions and agendas, we find ourselves being dragged into multiple realities we had no desire to be part of, and in many cases, had no idea they even existed. The psychological manipulation our minds are bombarded with through media and technology creates quite the difficulty in staying focused on the actual reality we desire for ourselves. Whether you are or are not active in media, news, TV, or the like, can be somewhat irrelevant because those around you are relevant, and their realities can and will intersect with yours. This in itself can develop into a quagmire of rampant thought patterns, frustrations, and interruptions. So in order to master your reality, you must first learn to control the influences attempting to interrupt that reality. As we've spoken about in past live streams, remain in the eye of the storm rather than participating in the storm around you. Then these 6 actions will work even better.
Hey everyone, hey, thanks for joining us today. Hacking the Infinity Matrix, episode number 33. 33
Welcome.
6 simple actions to begin mastering your reality. If you're just joining us, jump into the, hey, there we got Demetrius there. Good to see
Demetrius.
you, Demetrius. If you're just joining us, go ahead and tell us in the chat where you're chiming in from. Let us know where we got, there we go. Welcome, everybody. Thanks, Demetrius. Great. Yeah, let us know in the chat where you're coming from. And if it's your first time here, please just go ahead and give us a hashtag first time so that we're aware and we can give you proper shout outs and greetings as we finish the, when we finish the stream and come back to the chats. And if you're watching this on replay, go ahead and type hashtag replay. Yes, we do have replays. They're in, you can see them in this, in the group section. The private group, which we'll give a link to a little bit later. And today's session, we have a really good treat for you today. And
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, and before we jump into that, though, I do want to let you know that in a couple of hours, we are doing a free Zoom presentation on the 7-Day Success Hacks program that we're starting in June. Let me just see. We got some people coming in from New Jersey. There we go. We got Knoxville, Tennessee. Nice. And Nashville. Nice.
Wow. Cool.
Right, awesome. And a couple of first timers. Welcome, you guys. And so the 7-Day Success Hacks program, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go and give you a little bit more snippets. But we do have the free Zoom presentation in about an hour and a half, 2 hours at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And let me just see if I can grab that link for you all to show you up here. Remove that and then grab this right tech stuff. There we go. So if you go here, you can go ahead and register for that free Zoom call that's coming up in a couple of hours. It's jam-packed with some pretty good stuff on there, so you're going to want to jump on.
Well, it even has its own hacks.
That's right.
That's the really cool part.
So it's 3 pretty powerful success hacks, and tomorrow we'll be doing Down the Rabbit Hole, which is a live interactive Q&A session where we start a conversation on one topic and then we see where it goes, where it takes us, okay? It takes us into stimulating, inspiring, thought-provoking topics, and we'll share the link for that a little later in the stream today.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. We love the rabbit hole. It's just a jam session. You know, have you ever seen musicians when they just, you know, they just get together and they just like, you know, and just somebody just starts a chord and then they just kind of, you know, all of a sudden they're creating this song. That's what the rabbit hole fabulous. It's really
Yeah, it's like dueling pianos. You ever been to a dueling pianos?
That's a good one. Yeah, exactly. You know, it seems that many of us have spent the last year virtually in the storm, you know, ducking and dodging the onslaught of the negativity and the frustration from the world around us. But just imagine what it will be like when you have a very simple template of 6 action steps to follow that will bring a calmness, a zen, a peace into your existing reality. Currently, navigating the world is like training a dog in a forest of squirrels. You know, I mean, it's just like, okay, we're almost there. Almost got it. Squirrel, crap. You know, okay, let's start again. All right, almost there. Almost got it. Squirrel. Damn. You know, I mean, it's just, it's a stop and start because all of these interruptions and all of these different realities that are trying to push themselves onto yours. So my first question is, you know, who or what are the squirrels? You know, are they sentinels? And which is something that we're going to talk about more in another live stream. It's a really, really cool topic. You know, and when Gary and I started developing today's process, we talked about the series, The Queens Gambit. Who's seen this? Anybody? Let us know below. Who's seen The Queen's Gambit, the series on, I think it was Netflix.
Yeah, I believe it's Netflix. Yeah.
So pop it down below. So there's scenes where the main character, she's laying in bed and she's imagining all the scenarios of chess moves that she can make. So there's an image up on the screen there. And so she's seeing the chessboard on the ceiling. And then the chess pieces start moving around as she is just working out these different processes. You know, when I first saw this, I said to my wife, I says, you know, there's something here that we can utilize. There's a way to strategize our lives that's easy and simple. 6 clean and concise moves to strategically navigate our daily reality. So, shall we begin?
Let's rock.
On to Queen 4. Step 1 is awareness. This step mostly begins with a feeling, a sense of uneasiness. This can show up in the realms of mental, emotional, physical, or even spiritual uneasiness. But for now, we'll focus on the sense of I am in dis-ease. You've all felt it at one time or another. Things seem off, not right, or off balance. And think of this as the point where here you have begun to be aware of the glitch in your matrix.
Yeah, it's the black cat. Hey.
You know, so many of us ignore these feelings and these glitches, allowing them to exacerbate the one small problem until it becomes big enough to be worth our time and our attention, escalating to the point where your world seems tossed upside down or a major breach in the reality that you prefer. The dilemma here is that there are usually far more than one problem developing, quietly sneaking in, and thus exponentially growing and multiplying into even greater challenges. Now, we have several larger situations that need our full attention, and in most cases, it's like right away. And thus the chaos ensues.
Yeah.
So, Gary, how do you identify them?
Well, first, you know, I think that if you think of it like, you know, the movie The Matrix, right? The glitch in the Matrix, he sees the cat and it's like, hey, doesn't pay attention to me. He sees the cat, hey. Then he puts his awareness on, right? Then he says, okay, I noticed something. And then it said, oh, you noticed something? Well, we got to do something about it. Otherwise, all the agents are going to come.
Exactly.
And then there's chaos, right? And so... you know, sometimes we're so that they're so things are so obvious that you can't ignore them, right? But still choose not to do anything about them. But once you take time, take some time to just put your attention on what's going on in your reality, right? And you start to notice those glitches. Then you need to run them through the Infinity Matrix reality checklist. All right, so let me give you a reality checklist. All right, now remember, in this dimension of reality, the rules are that everything needs to happen in one of four or with all four quadrants. Okay, these four quadrants. And there has to be a time when it occurs. That's the first quadrant. Okay, there has to be a time for something to occur. The second quadrant is there has to be a space or location where it occurs. Then there has to be a something or some form of matter that occurs. Okay, and then there has to be it has to have some type of energy that goes with it. So your Infinity Matrix reality checklist is your way to determine the when, the where, the what, and the how of that experience. Right now, there's more to this, and we will be happy to go into it in a little more detail on Down the Rabbit Hole segment tomorrow on the Zoom. So jump on there, and we can definitely tap into more of this conversation. But today, this will be enough to get you started with the 6 steps. All right. So once you notice the glitch, ask these 4 questions. When does that occur? Right? When does or did that occur? To get clarity on the time, right? Because then you become more clear about the time quadrant. And then you say, okay, second question is, well, where does that occur? To get clarity on the space or location in reality. Then you say, okay, what is actually occurring? So what's manifest? What's showing up, right? You get clarity on the something or the matter in reality. And then you ask, well, how does it occur? Because that'll give you clarity on what's the energy involved in that reality, right? Then, once you get clarity of those 4 quadrants, then you get asked to ask yourself, okay, is that a problem? Or is it something I'd like to change, right? So you need to ask that to check on, is that even the problem? Because if it's not, then why? There's so many other things you could be focused on, right? So it's if the answer is yes, then you follow up with, well, how do I know it's a problem? Because you have to understand that one thing, when you ask yourself, how do I know anything, whatever it is, how do I know that occurred? What that will do is it'll give you clarity on what your reality strategy is for that experience. It'll give you clarity on how you actually formulate a reality around that thing. It's how you know it occurs, okay? Or how you know that it's a problem, right? And if the answer is no, right? So if you ask, is this a problem or something I'd like to change? If the answer is no, then you follow up with, well, how can I experience it more? Right? So if it's not a problem and it's something you enjoy, how can I experience it more? And by asking these questions, right, you'll become more capable of determining which quadrant in reality, which quadrant of reality is the primary cause of the dis-ease. Because if you say, let's say, for example, it's because of the time issue, right? So something happened in time that created this experience. But you start to work on the matter, so the actual manifestation or the emotion of it or the action of it. Well, you're working in the wrong quadrant, so it's not going to have the impact because it's too late down the line of reality creation, right? And so then it's just a matter of tracking the experience by quantifying it as it changes and as you change with it.
That's it. So from then, now that you've determined that, now we're going to quantify. Okay, so we're going to move our pawn to Queen's Bishop 5. In previous live streams, we discussed the use of questions to actually change your perceptions of the world around you. Questions are profound in their ability to define and direct actions. And better questions are increasingly more powerful. For example, I'm going to give you two very common scenarios. So scenario number one, why is this happening to me? Compared to, what can I do to prevent this from happening again? You feel that shift? You feel how your mind takes a different route, okay, to solve the problem. Scenario number two, how can I make more money? Why am I always broke? Where does my money go every month? Compared to, what are the easiest and fastest ways I can generate immediate and or consistent additional income? Okay, the first, in each of those, the first example is more of a, I'm the victim, woe is me. As where the second one is a solution oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're both the exact same situation. But the second example is reframed to be more towards a solution, pointing your mindset inwards to the eye of the storm rather than participating in the storm. And we seem to love to participate in the storm because we're used to it. That's our normal. To get good at asking quality questions, it takes know-how and practice. And that's actually one of the primary reasons we've dedicated a whole section of the 7-Day Success Hack program on what we call the question concept. Hey, what a novel title. We keep getting members asking us when the next 7-day quest is and how they can get on the introductory Zoom call. So just to get a taste of what we do. So we're having the Zoom call just over an hour at 11 a.m. Pacific time. It's a free call. And if you like our weekly streams, you're going to be in for a real treat because you're going to love this call. Because we share 3 success hacks, and they're ones that we don't share anywhere else. So you will leave the Zoom with solid hacks. I mean, if anything, just jump on just to get the hacks. It's because we can generate a whole new level of success in any area of your life. And you'll see that in just the tip of the iceberg from what you'll get in the 7-Day Success Hacks program. We'll also share all the details of the 7-day program about how you can join us for the next one. It begins on June 14th. I'm sure there's a ton of questions. So here's the Zoom registration link. So I think Gary's got it down below.
On the screen there
Go
too.
there, register, and when you join us, you can ask all the questions you'd like. So it's hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/success hacks.
Nope, 3 success hacks.
3?
3, yeah. So the number 3, it's on the screen there. So number 3 success hacks.
Oh.
Yeah.
La-di-da, Gary changed it. But and then the invite and the registration will just be sent to your email.
Yeah.
So Gary, let's go into step 4.
Yeah. So we can't emphasize enough the power of questions and how you use them throughout your life. Questions are really the catalyst for alchemy in the infinity matrix, right? And then the next step is to step into your, what we call, and we talk about for over and over, is your choice convergence point, right? We've talked about that in one way or another for, well, I would say almost every
beginning.
33 episodes.
Since the beginning.
Your CCP is what we call choice convergence point, is that place where you realize that all possible options exist. Okay, where you have infinite choices to pick from and allow that reality to unfold for you, depending on which one you choose. Right? So here's what you do. you write down all the ways you like that reality. That when you notice the glitch and you want something, and you put your awareness on it, you write down all the ways you like that reality to unfold for you. So imagine if you had a magic wand and you could conjure up reality just the way you'd like it. Then on a daily basis, you can pick an aspect from the time, space, matter, and energy quadrants and ask, well, what if? And then fill in the details. Right? So if it's the time, you're going to say, well, what if that time synchronistically allows that experience to be even better than I expected? Right? Or you ask, what if in that space, in that location, there were even more empowering options available to me? Or what if that experience happened in a way that was graceful and even more fulfilling?
Right.
Or what if things were always easy? That what if, you just add that what if, and it opens up a whole new portal for you, right? These types of questions keep you in the choice convergence point, opening up portals of reality to start to build a resource bridge between the reality you're experiencing and the reality you want to manifest and move into, right? It preps and primes you for step number 5. Actually, tomorrow, this is going to be our starting point for the conversation for Down the Rabbit Hole. All right. Again, Down the Rabbit Hole is our weekly live open conversation segment that we invite you and anyone you know to join us in the Zoom call and ask whatever you want about anything Infinity Matrix related. Okay, it's a conversation. It's if that type of conversation where we're in back and forth conversation about hacking reality and all the things that we've been talking about in these streams. That's the type of conversation that you want, that intrigues you, right? Then go ahead and drop. Let me know. Let me see how. Go ahead and drop it in the comment section. #rabbit-hole. In the comments, if you look for, and if you're thirsting for stimulating, inspiring conversations in your life more, because we know that the people that jump on that rabbit hole are searching for that, and that's why we have that, right? So you are welcome to share your insights on there, your wisdom. We strongly encourage this back and forth dialogue. So it's not just Ross and I, blah, 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 blah. It's everybody. And whether you contribute by verbally coming on or texting, believe me, it's very stimulating when you think of all the mind-numbing, drama-related, uninspiring conversations that can happen in your day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last week's rabbit hole, I mean, we had somebody on that we'd never even talked to before. It was her first interaction with us at all.
I'd never even seen any of her streams.
And she was teaching us, so we're like, right? Tell us more about this. What's going on? It was fantastic. So this, like I said, it's a back and forth. I mean, we love it just as much as the people that are on the calls.
Yeah. And I guarantee it that you get on there and you'll leave that session buzzing, right? Whether you're joining just to listen in or you're joining to be part of the conversation, you'll leave there buzzing. All right. I've just put the link on the screen to register for the Zoom call. It is streamed into our Facebook group, and but that's the only place it's streamed into. So if you're not on the call, you have to watch it there. All right. And so it's hackingtheinfinitematrix.com/rabbit hole, and just register with the Zoom call there, and you can join us tomorrow. You'll get the link in your email.
So now I'm going to move my queen to King's Rook 5. And we're going to talk about step 5, which is a dream solutions. And so now we're going to learn to set the subconscious mind to tasking the solution. This is so hard. You'll sleep right through it. So I'm going to give you 2 easy to do processes to allow your subconscious mind to work the solution while you sleep. I think we discussed this a couple of times in some of our rabbit hole episodes, didn't we, Gary?
Yeah.
You know, again, it's just something just kind of popped up, and somebody was saying, well, how do you, what can you do when you're dreaming, or what can you do when you sleep? Can you make it more productive? And we're like, oh, hell yes. And so number 1, write this down. While laying in bed and beginning to relax to fall asleep, imagine there's a feather floating above you. It's just floating, just back and forth. It's slowly floating in the air. And imagine all the information that you've collected in steps 1 through 4 are either written on that feather or sitting on top of that beautiful, light, fluffy feather. And within that information is the answer that you're seeking. So it's floating. It's floating, and it's slowly floating down. And finally, as you fall asleep, it rests on your forehead and just melts into your mind. Okay? This particular process, you're going to have a very, very good chance of waking up with the solution that you've been looking for. Because your subconscious mind is always working. It's always working. And when you're sleeping is the perfect time where it's not distracted in any way. So, number 2, while laying in bed and beginning to relax to fall asleep, have a conversation with your subconscious mind. Probably not out loud, but you can. Okay?
I've done it out loud.
Yes, I know. So it's easier when you're by yourself. But you're having that conversation, and you're simply asking it to compile and review all the data you've collected from steps 1 through 4, and repeating them in your mind. Okay, I've got this quadrant and this quadrant, this and this. Don't try to solve the problem. Just tell your subconscious mind, this is the information that I've collected so far. And then asking it politely to create the best possible solution and present it to you upon waking. This is so cool. This is when you talk about Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, Tesla, they all use these processes while they're sleeping. Like, they just want to be super productive. Like, my mind has nothing else to do, so I'm going to put it to task. And a lot of them will have a tablet. At that time, they didn't have recording devices. They'll have a writing tablet, something like that, beside on their nightstand, beside their bed. And sometimes they'll wake up in the middle of the night because the solution came up, and they'll wake up. I mean, it'll hit at any times. Now, even if you don't get the solution in the morning,
if you don't get it consciously,
exactly, your subconscious mind is still working on it. When people, they say, I get some of my best ideas in the shower, that's because it's still working, and then it happens.
Yeah. And also, too, again, when you understand the unconscious mind, sometimes the unconscious mind may come up with the solution, but because you haven't listened to it in the past, it's reluctant to actually let you become aware of it until you start to practice the listening part of it. So listen and be aware and be open for whatever shows up when you do this process. and you'll get better with time. And then you'll build this relationship, if you will, with your unconscious mind, so that when you do ask it, and you'll get more frequent and more consistent responses, if you will, from that process, right? So don't get discouraged. It's practice. You need to undo the training that you've done in the past to reinstall the training that you want to do now.
And in taking what Gary just said, go back to step one. Step one is all about your subconscious mind saying,
something's going on.
Hello, something's going on.
Yeah.
It's a feeling, it's a sense.
Yeah.
And as Gary said, as you practice more and more, it'll actually become very, very clear, like something's off here, and then you'll zero in on it right away. But that is your subconscious mind. Yeah. It's always scanning. It's always scanning.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're ready. When you got that, then you're ready for step 6, which is action. Queen takes on F7, checkmate. Right? So the final step here is the simplest, maybe not as simple as going to sleep, but it's the simplest, but not always the easiest. All right. So it is the simplest. When you wake up in your new reality, right? Because you wake up every day in a new reality. When you wake up in your new reality and you notice possible solutions coming into your awareness, just write them down, like Ross said. Right? Write them down. We suggest that you have a journal for what we call new possibilities, where that's you're just writing new possibilities, things that could happen, what ifs, right? You're writing them in that journal, right? And give yourself till the end of the day for them to pop up, because they may not wake up as soon as your eyes open. Give yourself some time, okay, for it to kind of show up and maybe sneak up on you. Right, as a new thought, as a new idea, or as some kind of inspiration, right? And then at the end of the day, right, you look over your list, right? Even if it's just one thing on the list for that day, you look it over, right? And make a commitment to take some sort of action towards that solution in the next 24 hours, right? And just get the ball rolling, get the momentum going. Because again, that's a practice. Once you start to do that, that becomes the routine. That becomes the new habit, right? So then you just repeat step 5. So you give your unconscious mind what you did in 1 to 4, and you do the process. See the feather go down, and you do that step 5 again, so that the other than conscious mind can continue to generate even more options, until you have the reality that you desire.
Exactly.
Okay. So there you have it. That's we've weaved the hack through the stream today. All right. So here's the 6. All right. 6 steps. Number 1, practice increasing your awareness of your reality and the glitches that happen. Start to become aware of those. All right.
And Gary, if I can throw in something, please don't ignore the glitches. That's what this is all about, because the glitches, can be a tiny little crack that's going to build and build and build, and then all of a sudden you have a hole that you're going to fall into.
Yeah, again, I think that it's maybe refine that. Don't ignore it for too long, okay?
Yeah.
Because the reality is that it will continue to come back. Right, there'll be more and more of those glitches, or different variations of those glitches. Your universe is working with, your matrix is working with you. The external is working with you. It's not against you. So it's giving you these clues, right? And if you're not aware of it, it's going to make the clue more apparent and more obvious until you can't ignore it. Yep. Unfortunately, when you get to that point, it could be in, like Ross says, where you're in this down, dark, negative place, and it's hard to sometimes get out of that. Right? So let's catch it before it gets to that point. So that's practice increasing your awareness. Number 2, identify if the glitches that you notice, identify if it's a problem or not. And then which quadrant of reality it originates from. Because then you can know where you're going to be able to make the most powerful impact. Right? And then you'll want to look for the solutions that come up in that quadrant. Okay, that'll be a big clue for you to make the biggest impact. Number 3, quantify the magnitude of that glitch by asking quality questions. right? So like Ross was saying, look at the questions that you're asking, ask better quality, solution-orientated questions. And number 4, build the bridge of resources between the reality you have and the reality you prefer by asking, well, what if quadrant 1? What if quadrant 2? What if quadrant 3, and so on and so on, right? And then you hand it over. You generate the dream solutions by handing the glitch over, and the bridge of resources, handing those over to your other than conscious mind. And then step 6, make a list of your new options and commit to taking some action in the next 24 hours. Okay, I'm going to post those in the comments so you'll see the list. Hopefully they'll show up for you. Some places, I think in groups, it might not, but we will post that as well. There it is. It just posted as a chat. And believe me, this is a powerful hack, probably one of the most powerful full-on hacks we've given in the streams. I mean, it's right up there for sure. Using these 6 steps will set you on a powerful path of transformation. Now, combine this with the other hacks we've been sharing with you, to create a complete system, and that we also have set in place on the 7-day success hacks program. You'll be amazed. I mean, literally amazed at how fast and how much you can control the infinity matrix reality that you experience, right? So to get a taste of it and all the details of the program, just over an hour, just over an hour at 11 a.m. PST, you can join us for a free Zoom presentation. Let me throw the link up again. So hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/3 success hacks. Go ahead and join, register there. Just for attending the Zoom presentation, you're going to get 3 powerful, super powerful success hacks that we don't teach anywhere else. Okay, we only teach it on that presentation. So there's the link, hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/3, the digit 3, success hacks. Once you register the Zoom, you'll get the Zoom link. Sorry, once you register there, you'll get the Zoom link by email to you, and you can jump in and join us. All right. We look forward to seeing you on the Zoom. Thanks for sticking with us to the end of the stream today. We really appreciate you. We're deeply touched every week by the comments, the interaction, and the attendance every week. Please do share this with other people of like mind that you think would benefit from these streams. Let them know about it. Let's continue to grow the community. If you want to join us on in our Facebook private group, we didn't talk much about it today, but we do have replays there, and it's facebook.com/groups/the Infinity Matrix. There's 3 simple questions to answer there, just to kind of get you registered automatically into the membership. So please do answer them, and you'll be accepted in. And under the guides tab, you can see all the replays that we have, and you can kind of go back if you haven't seen any of our previous stuff and join us there. And also,
and let your friends know about the group too. I mean, we had somebody, what was it, Gary, Monday?
Yes.
I woke up Monday and I, got ready and I, popped open the computer and I was just like, I said, did you do something different? I said, because there's just a ton of member requests. And somebody, so I'm like, what the heck? I said, and then I'm like, oh, somebody had sent invitations to virtually their entire friends list.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and this has happened before, but for someone to have that much faith in us and really like all of our content so much, it really touched us a lot. It was just like, that's just so amazing. So thank you, everyone.
Paula asked if we can type the link. Yeah, let me I'll drop that in. Give me a second here, Paula. Let me grab it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do, first of all, this is going to be for ES. That one there is for the Zoom call coming up. It's going to show up in the chat in a second here. And for the group, it's running down the bottom here. And I will do one also for the rabbit hole. So you guys can grab that in the link here. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
So if you don't see the link showing up for whatever, because we're streaming in different places, if you don't see the links showing up in the chat, just message us or let us know in there, link for Zoom calls, please, and then we'll come in and we'll manually add it into the chat for you.
Well, Gary, if they put in hashtag success hacks,
that makes it easier for sure. Or hashtag rabbit hole.
Yeah,
so hashtag success hacks or hashtag rabbit hole, and then that way we know which one you want the link for.
Correct. Yep.
All right.
Exactly.
Thanks everyone for joining us today. We'll see you either later in about an hour and a half on the Zoom call, or tomorrow or next Thursday. One way or the other, we look forward to seeing you.
There's always something going on
and we got some more stuff coming.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Be well, everyone. Thanks for sticking around.
Bye-bye.